Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports like you never had before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam. Well, what a day, what a day. Good start for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, that's good.
Great.
So far the week's had good returns for you then?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. It's nice to be healthy again.
It is.
I can breathe. I actually got to go to the gym yesterday. I was so sore. Like 3 weeks of ice and sickness. It was just like, oh, let's go work out. I only did like some light bench, and I'm just like, oh my God, my tits hurt.
Oh, my arms are sore right now because we did biceps today. We usually do it on Tuesdays, but brother had an emergency that he had to deal with, and so I just did legs by myself yesterday, and then today we hit biceps hard.
Good.
Like hard. Probably the hardest that we've done it in like a year and a half.
It's one of those things where you're just like, today we're getting it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like it was.
Everyone shows up and
we
you're ready to go.
We didn't talk, nothing.
Yeah.
Like walked in, did the running, went over there and just started going at doing all of our different stuff. We were like, was that 5? Yeah. Move to the next one. That's it.
You're like, it feels great today, but tomorrow and then the next day, I'm going to regret those arm days.
I'll be hurting. It'd be one of those trying to wipe your butt like, oh my God.
Oh, goodness. All right, well, with that said, which way do you want to go? We got a little bit of everything.
I mean, we got to do the breaking news. We have to start
breaking news is obviously Jim Harbaugh signing. It was about an hour before we start filming tonight. I think that was kind of the name we've seen building for them. It seemed like the last couple of weeks it's kind of built traction pretty heavily.
Yeah, it was heavily rumored that the Chargers were going after him. So there was, no matter who they interviewed because of the Rooney Rule, they had to interview some minority coach.
Yeah.
It was always Harbaugh or nothing. Well, not nothing, but it was always Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And they finally landed their guy.
I will say that it's definitely the best quarterback he's had in his time as an NFL coach.
Oh, yeah.
I think about how good he was in San Francisco, and look, this isn't the thing, but Kaepernick wasn't like this superstar. Like he was a qualified NFL quarterback. Everything else happened aside, whatever.
He was just
a guy.
Yeah.
He was very athletic. He could break big runs. That helped out.
Giving
Harbaugh a real quarterback will definitely help because we know he's a good football coach. He doesn't do anything but win. I mean, good Lord, look at the dude's track record: national championships, Super Bowl appearances. Like he wins, but he's in the division of baby goat.
Yeah. Because
we just watched another weekend that says why we can never doubt Pat. Like all year we'll go, yeah, that offense just isn't there. Oh, it's not there. Oh, yeah, conference championship game. Like, I think it's I literally don't know. Pat Mahomes in his what, 7th season? 6th?
Probably.
6th or 7th because he sat his rookie year, and then he would roll into it. I know that. While you're looking it up, we know it's a small number. It's definitely not 10 years. And was it Patrick Willis that played 10 years, right? And he's on the ballot for the Hall of Fame this year. Yeah. Like, one of my arguments on Patrick Willis was, I just don't know if he played long enough. Like, I felt like he could have played longer. But then you look at Patrick Mahomes, realize what he's done in 7 years or however short of time it is, and I genuinely think if he decided to stop football tomorrow.
See, he has been in the league for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th year.
Yeah, so 6 years as a starter, and he's been in the conference championship every time. If he retired today, after the game, if they lose, whatever, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't know that you can tell him he's not already a Hall of Famer.
He is, but he wouldn't.
It wouldn't be like right away,
ballot,
but he would get
second, but he would end up getting in.
Yeah, I think he's the safest.
It would hurt his chances to be a guaranteed first-time ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, yeah.
But
I just mean
he would
at the pace, if he continues to put up the numbers he put up this season, for example, which aren't even his best numbers, but if he does these numbers for the next 7 years, that puts him in a 14-year NFL career as a quarterback, which is pretty much what we're seeing a lot of the top ends make it nowadays.
This is actually his second lowest passing. Of course, he had an extra game.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't even his lowest touchdowns, but again, he had an extra game. So I would say this is his worst year.
Yeah, even running with his pretty much worst year of his career. I think if he played the same numbers for the next 7 years, he's got 2 Super Bowl championships, an MVP. he's in. Like, just stay healthy, finish out strong, kid. You'll get paid the whole way.
And that's it. Just stay healthy. You're in. You're
that said, he's never had a challenge in that division.
He's going to have it now.
He's going to have it now because Jim Harbaugh knows how to make football teams better. He got a 5-year contract, I think is what it said.
Yeah, 5 years.
That's about how long it takes before he pisses everyone off and leaves anyway. I mean, that's the other track record is he's unlike his brother, he grinds gears.
Yeah.
And so that'll be the only question is how do people take to his coaching? But college kids have taken to it, and nowadays college is basically the NFL. I mean, they just get paid from different people.
Yeah.
So I think
you're still molding though in
True.
college. You're still molding them. Once you get into the NFL, you're not molding anymore.
Not as much. No. You're still trying to develop talent, maybe, but you're not to the same degree.
But,
it's not about. I don't know. Even now, you hardly think about them having to worry about what's at home is the checks some of these college kids are getting.
Yeah. And like when you're talking about that division, like they basically went from because they're the worst team in that division right now because of injuries.
For sure, tons of injuries.
But then you get to now you have Harbaugh. You're going to have a fresh Herbert. You're figure out what you're going to do at running back. You have a pretty good team surrounding him. Quentin Johnston.
Yeah,
we'll
I was
see.
going to say,
We have an old Keenan Allen,
exactly.
Mike Williams who can't stay healthy. Like your receiver room is a bit.
There's some questions there. I think Keenan Allen was very good this season, but you're going to have to factor that he usually is an injury guy. At least some point in the season, he's a nagging injury guy. He's 32, 33 now.
Yeah. And his contract, I believe, is up next year.
Yeah, there's a debate to say that Josh Palmer is easily maybe your second best guy because of how hurt Mike Williams is.
Yeah.
So definitely
and his contract is up next year also.
Yeah, so there's definitely some questions in the receiving room, I think. But I kind of like we said before when we were kind of getting ready, Harbaugh's very run-based anyway. He always kind of was. He was run-based with San Francisco. He's run-based with Michigan. They need a running back. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes and get his old college running back. If he can get him in like the 3rd round, goes after Blake Corum, it's gonna take pressure off Herbert because he's going to institute much more of a running game to their offense.
Yeah. So. Also, wouldn't be shocked if they try to go for Saquon because Saquon's gonna be out there.
That's true. That's gonna be a money question though because they've put a lot of money into that defense of guys that haven't given return.
Well, they're gonna have to get rid of Bosa. Not Bosa, sorry. Mac. Yeah, they're going to have to get rid of him. Actually, I think he might be... No. Yeah, he's a free agent. So never mind.
So that opens up.
So that opens it up. The main thing is Keenan Allen, like getting rid of him. Like contractual wise and open up money. Like that's the best opportunity because he's going to have... Because all his contract was basically backloaded. So these last 2 years have been like really heavy on the cap.
Yeah.
So it's your best bet to, unfortunately, even though he's your best receiver, it's your best bet to move on from him so that you can open up room to bring more talent in.
And I think you give Jim Harbaugh 5 years because you see some coaches get 5 years that don't ever make 5 years. I think you give Jim Harbaugh 5 years because you understand that Jim Harbaugh can create that culture by the end of 5 years.
Yeah.
So even if you don't keep him at the end of the 5th year because he does grind gears, he will get you set up. I mean, look at San Francisco. Don't tell me that he didn't have some paving and laying the foundation of where they got to.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
100%. And so I think that I wouldn't be shocked if we see them in this offseason talk about guys like Keenan Allen getting moved. We definitely probably aren't going to see them bring back an Austin Eckler. Guys, there's going to be some shuffling in there. If there's outs in guys' contracts like Mike Williams' contract, they're probably going to find a way to do it. I wouldn't even be shocked if you see them take on some dead money just to kind of get into the position to build it better next year. Even.
Let me look at
what the dead money would be.
Yeah. See, Chargers.
But other coaches' things while you look at that would be that the Dolphins decided that we didn't need Vic Fangio anymore. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure what happened there. I mean, our defense wasn't as good as
right now. They're technically $45 million over the cap.
Yeah, so they're definitely gonna have to make some moves.
They're going to be moving some people. Well, and that's I don't know if that's counting the free agents. Because it's the current year, so they're currently $45 million.
If you get on Facebook and go to the Score, they actually just posted I believe it's the Score, or no, Pro Football Focus just posted a list of what everyone's salary cap number is right now on Facebook. They did it like 4 hours ago because I was looking at it. Because I believe the Washington Commanders have $78 million in cap space. So whoever takes over that team, they're happy.
Yeah, I think I've seen some
Yeah, there
cap
it is.
spaces. All right.
Yeah.
So we got the Chargers. Okay. Yeah, it's current. So $45 million over the cap.
Yeah, so they actually have some of the least amount of money. So
Yeah.
Harbaugh's in for work. They're not going to be automatically. Well, let me phrase it. They will automatically be better next year because they still have a generational quarterback, or at least a talent level of quarterback.
Very talented.
So they're going to be able to be better based off that alone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to be contending with the Chiefs anybody yet. I think the Raiders, you can't sleep on the fact that Antonio Pierce came in, changed that culture, and now they did the decision to hire their guy.
Like, they made the decision, or
their players made that decision.
Mark Davis?
Yeah.
Or was Mark Davis the dad?
No, Mark Davis it is. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
It was Al Davis.
Yeah. Al Davis was the dad, yeah. All right, so Mark Davis came out and was like, we basically just decided we were going to hire him because the players were going to have a mutiny. So we were like, he's the right coach. Like,
yes, like
if they're that for this guy, he's your Dan Campbell.
He's the second coach though that this would have happened to in 5 years. Because you gotta remember the players were just about that rally behind the last interim head coach.
Yeah.
And the Raiders still decided, no, we're gonna go after Josh McDaniel, and it blew up in their face. So I'm sorry, if I'm Antonio Pierce, every day that they waited to just tell me I'm the guy is an extra like $10,000 you're paying me. Because as soon as Max Crosby came out and said, I'm demanding a trade, I'd say, well, there's my bargaining chip. What you paying me? Because I ain't going anywhere now.
Like, when you have the face of your defense, basically saying, I'm gone if you're not hiring this
absolutely.
dude.
This is what you're talking, one of the 5 best defensive ends in the league right now.
And like I said, Antonio Pierce to me he's the Dan Campbell. Like, the players want to. D'Amico Ryans, he's the player that players want to play for. Or coach that players want to play for.
Even though my Dolphins have one of those analytical geeky guys, it is fun seeing the league start shifting a little more into bringing some of these rah coaches in. Now, it's also affecting the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator positions. We've seen that those positions are turning like hotcakes because those rah guys have to have good OCs and DCs.
Yes. And like you were talking about Vic Fangio gone for, I don't know.
Already talking about the favorite of the Eagles.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what they need.
Well, he wanted to go to Philadelphia. Or he wanted to be closer to his family in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that was...
So the opening is in Philadelphia.
Perfectly for him to be able to step away from.
Speaking of Philadelphia, this is another Rooney Rule thing. Brian Johnson got like 3 interviews with teams for their head coaching gig, and then the Eagles fired him as their defensive coordinator.
Now he's getting to be a linebacker
that's
coach.
why when we talked about it last week, the Rooney Rule, even though it has a great meaning, it's such a failure.
It's flawed. The execution is awful, and now they're trying to incentivize with draft picks and all that stuff. But honestly, I think we're forward enough thinking nowadays in the NFL. I'm not saying the whole country is, but in the NFL, that if you think the best candidate is this guy, that guy, or that guy, you're going to hire the guy you think it is. I don't think that we have any owners in the NFL at this point, except maybe Jim Irsay, who look at a guy and go, I don't know if he can coach, he's black.
Right.
Irsay's a little questionable. We don't ever doubt anything he can do.
Yeah.
But
no, you're completely right, because like majority of the time these teams have a coach that they're locked in on, that they're going for, but they still have to interview all these other people, not just Rooney Rule minority coaches, but all these other coaches too. Like, they're still having to go for them, even though their eyes on this guy. They have to do a certain amount of interviews.
Yeah.
Which I get, because it helps get these other coaches. It gets their foot in the door. Gives them an opportunity to get that interview in, so that in the future they can be better at the interview and stuff like that. Like, it does help them.
Yeah.
But these owners know that they're not going for these guys. They're going for a certain one. And that's who their target is.
Exactly.
And it sucks for those other guys. But the one that I'm actually shocked about is Eric Bieniemy hasn't had a single head coaching interview this year. Not one.
I'm actually surprised how many coaching jobs we've already seen fill.
That too.
Because Ben Johnson hasn't even had a chance to be eligible to interview yet because he's still coaching in the playoffs.
Well, he's going to go to Tennessee. No. They hired.
Tennessee hired the Callahan, which
from the Bengals.
I'm like,
yeah,
because I feel like that's Zach Taylor's team. That's still his system. Like, and now don't get me wrong, their team looked good offensively at times. Still looked okay with the backup quarterback in, even after Burrow got hurt. Like, but there were some ups and downs. They never got T. Higgins going at any point in this season. Chase was hit or miss throughout the season. Joe Mixon's been the same 700-yard rusher every year of his career. That guy that for some reason we all think this is his fantasy year and he has one huge game and it never amounts to anything else. Joe Mixon is always that guy. But the fact, like, you look at it, there are still some candidates who can't even interview yet. And we've already watched jobs start.
They're interviewing.
Oh, I didn't know I thought they couldn't interview while they were playing still.
No, they're interviewing.
Oh, okay.
But Ben Johnson has gone on interviews.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm really shocked.
He just can't get hired.
Oh, okay. So then maybe there's some teams that we haven't heard because of that.
Because we got
the Falcons still need a guy, which Bill Belichick's probably still the front runner there.
Oh, yeah. We got the Falcons, Panthers, Commanders, and Seahawks. Those are the ones left, and the Seahawks is the team that is likely trying to go for Ben Johnson.
That would make a lot of sense. That would be a good one.
And then I also heard Falcons they might be out on Belichick.
Really?
And it's because
they don't want his OC he's going to bring with him?
Well, it's not that. It's Blank wants him, but none of the rest of the board does.
I don't know that I'd want him anymore.
Because, like, you have, like, he's older, so you have to let him institute his system into your organization
immediately,
and he's only going to be there for a couple of years because of his age.
Yeah, he could die.
So, like, to me, he's a great coach, a great defensive coach, but I just don't know if it's
and he's going to bring
the right thing to do,
and he's going to bring a coaching staff full of his rejects. McDaniels, Patricia, all those guys are just going to come with him. Like, those guys were the guys that kind of started watching New England taper away anyway. So is it just because you gave him new colors and a new roster, we think they play better, coach better?
Well, I mean, Josh McDaniels, don't get me wrong, Josh McDaniels is a terrible head coach. But
he's a great coordinator. He has been a very good coordinator.
Over and over again that he is a good coordinator.
Oh,
like, you can take Tom Brady away from him, and he made Mac Jones look good, and then we left, and then all of a sudden Mac Jones was garbage.
Yeah.
So
I saw a great play.
He's a good offensive coordinator. There was a bunch of guys like Jason Garrett before, he went to the Giants, and it was clear that the NFL had passed him by. But at one point, like, that's what he was really good at. He was a terrible head coach, but he was a really good offensive coordinator.
I would say he was an average head coach. I mean, statistically.
Yeah, very true.
But I will say another one that surprises me that I haven't really heard any Vrabel head coaching interview with.
He's had some.
Has he had some?
Yeah.
I mean, because he shouldn't have been fired in the first place.
Seahawks is one of them that he's been to, and I think the Commanders.
Seahawks have so many young pieces on their defense that he would be.
Yeah,
he'd be pretty nice
he
there.
Would be good. I wouldn't be shocked if the Panthers also went for him if they don't land someone like Ben Johnson or.
I think you have to go offense if you're the Panthers.
You have to.
You have to get someone to not make Bryce Young a flop.
Yeah,
that's what you have to do. So I honestly, the Panthers 100%. I think if your goal in life right now should be getting Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Because look, he has completely helped turn around Jared Goff's career. Now, there was also some mental makeup that was fixed there. I'm not taking all of it away from Campbell because Campbell definitely helped on the mental side.
Yeah.
But skill set wise, I mean, there was so much hype around Bryce Young long before he even got draft eligible.
Yeah.
So there's pieces there.
Ben Slowick for the Texans, like, he's gotten a lot of love here lately. So, like, he could also be a guy that the Panthers could go for because that offense has looked tremendous for it having so many injuries.
Oh my goodness.
Having your being led by a rookie quarterback.
Your rookie, your stud, you're supposed to be starting running back coming into the season, falling off a cliff and then watch them all Devin Singletary blowing up.
Like there has been Nico Collins where before this season, like everyone just assumed he was like this average kind of guy. And with C.J. Stroud, all of a sudden became like the dude.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that teams could be looking at as well. But yeah, no, you're 100% right with the Panthers. They need to definitely make sure they go offense because when you have a stud quarterback, or maybe not even stud, but like
a young quarterback,
top draft pick like that, you want to make sure you have someone in there that can really get this guy going.
I think just on the basis of what you gave up to the Bears.
Yeah.
Because DJ Moore left and had the best statistical season of his career in a team that is historically known for not having a quarterback.
Yep.
And so if you gave up a guy that was already capable of being an elite receiver in this league and now you're loaded with questions outside. I mean, Adam Thielen looked up and down throughout the year, but that was your guy.
It.
Like, that was it.
And
so
none of your receivers can separate.
Exactly. So the fact that you thought that you needed to give up a number one receiver and all the picks you did to get this kid, he has to at least be your guy for 4 years. So you better figure it out the next 3. So
100%.
Definitely for sure on those notes. I mean, we've seen some other, like you said, we've got some other whispers and names. So we'll still get, I'm sure we'll get more on the coaching talk as we get into it. So we'll slide into the fact, though, that we have our conference championship games.
Yep. Sure do.
Definitely had some pretty fun ones in the divisional round. I mean, not to spend too much time in the past there.
They were good, though.
They were much better than the wild card round. The first half of Texans-Ravens looked like a ball game, and then the Ravens came out and just said, okay, nope, it's go time.
Yeah,
which
they were like,
it's good. That's what the 1 seed should have done.
Yeah.
So respect there. Bills and Chiefs was fantastic football.
That was...
It was a great football game. And Stephon Diggs definitely dropped the game.
That fake punt
was dumb. Do you think he was in a Hollywood movie because of who he gave it to? Like, it's really like he was ready to write a movie about it.
I keep hearing Disney movie.
Yeah, it's like...
I kept hearing it. I was like, you know, it kind of makes sense. And then, on top of that, they lost by 3.
Yeah. And if he would have got the first down,
so they were like...
Everybody would have looked back and been like...
Damar Hamlin, they lost by 3.
This is why they did it. 'Cause, yeah, I didn't even think about his jersey number. Yeah, like, Damar Hamlin would have, like, sealed his already won... Shouldn't be, but he's gonna win the comeback player of the year, and he's gonna get. He would have been like, "Look what I did! I got us a first down. It might not even amount to like it was the first down in your own 30. Like, where did you think that you're not Dan Campbell? Your team doesn't play like that. Like, stop."
Yeah.
But even with that though, Josh Allen was doing everything he could to try to win that football game. Now there were a couple of downfield throws because he did complete a lot of behind the line passes. Some down the field throws that were missed, but he also had a couple balls that were, a couple drops. Stephon Diggs dropped a dime.
Yeah.
I don't care. The amount of people, yes, there was a guy kind of draping near him, but it went right here.
It went right through his eyes.
That ball sums up Stephon Diggs' entire season, I think, though. Like, runs his mouth like he's still Jefferson and Chase and all those guys, and then goes out there, gets the ball that those guys would want, and gives it away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's...
And then he's already came out and said that he's not going to be requesting a trade, like because people had already made the assumption, oh, all right, season's over. He's going to want out. He's already come out and said he's not requesting a trade.
I don't know if I want him,
but if I'm the Bills, you're getting to a point now where you have to start thinking about a type of rebuild because you've maxed out. Like you're basically
Josh Allen's contract gets big this year.
Yeah.
He goes from like 17 to 47 million.
Diggs is the guy that you're going to have to make that decision on.
I think you're moving on because for the last couple of years all we've said is the Bills just got to find that second guy. I'll be honest, Shakir's the second guy. Now you need a first guy. So I think you need to move on from Gabe Davis. I don't think you've seen what you've got out of that.
Yeah, Gabe Davis is.
Let him go to someone else, see if they can figure it out there. You need to move on from Diggs, and and at that point, you're drafting 2 guys. I think you need weapons that are on low end contracts that can do it. You need guys like what the Chiefs got out of Rice. They don't have anything. Shakir had almost as many yards as Diggs over the last 12 games of the season.
Yeah.
On literally less than half of the targets. Come on now. So, they've definitely got to get some things there. I think you've got a good guy in James Cook. He looks, he's looked good. Obviously, you got about 4 years in him, probably.
The biggest problem, though, was last year they should have taken a receiver instead of going for a tight end because they already had Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox isn't going to be the same guy as
Kincaid.
As Kincaid.
Not offensive.
But he's still a good tight end.
Yeah.
Like, you should have decided, let's go get another weapon, actual receiver weapon, and do that. But instead, they went with the tight end. So now,
because
maybe they do switch the offense a little bit to running 2 tight ends and only 2 receivers. That way,
and I think the best thing you're going to get giving up Diggs at this point isn't too dissimilar from what Dallas got back from Cooper, because you're giving him up for money. So someone's going to have to eat contract too.
That, but the bigger thing was Amari's injury history was part of the reason why it was so low.
But for what
I'll meet you with Amari's,
with Amari's injury history, I'll meet you with Diggs's off the field issues and tell you that his attitude to the media and everything is as detrimental as a possible injury history. I mean,
maybe
this whole offseason was a carousel for the Bills going into the season.
And he's under contract until 2027, so he's got several years left.
Oh goodness, that's sad for them.
So actually,
for the Dolphins, who we have the second most debt in the league. I think we have negative $51 million in salary cap space.
That might actually. See, was it Bills?
Yeah, Buffalo.
So Diggs. Next, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that bad.
Yeah, he goes. So it was 11 last year, 14 this year. And then it balloons up to 27, 27, 28, and then 22.
Yeah, so you're getting a fifth.
And he's got a dead cap hit next year, or so his contract is $27 million. He's got a dead cap hit of 31.
Yeah, so you're eating money.
So
you have to move him at all.
You have to eat. Well, I mean that's pre June 1st. So you can designate him as a post June 1st, and you'd only have to eat $8 million.
And you still have to eat the whole thing if you trade him, right? Even though someone else is paying the contract. So you need to get someone willing to trade for him.
Yeah.
All right, so you're calling Carolina.
So trade, trade or cut, no matter what. June, a pre-trade cut June 1st is a dead cap of $31 million. A post June 1st is.
I never understood that part. I understand if you cut the guy in the cap is full, but if you trade the guy, I don't feel like you should have to suffer a dead cap hit because now if you agree to pay some of the money, okay, fine. But if you trade the guy, someone else is taking on the contract. It's not like he's not getting paid.
They're not taking on. They're only going to be taking on what hasn't been paid. So what they're actually going to take on is going to be less.
Because of upfront guarantees and all that stuff. Okay.
So they'll actually be taking less than what his actual. It's a weird situation how they have it set up and all that because you would think, thinking of it normally. The guy's $27 million. Okay, I'll give him to that guy, and they'll just pay the $27. Oh, you don't want to pay the full $27? All right, we'll take this $12 million hit, and you can have the rest.
In baseball, that's how it is. It's fully guaranteed. Yeah. So we'll just say, okay, we'll split it 50-50, and you kick back a player to be named later. Yeah. And that's how that. That's how that all lays out. So that said, though, NFC side of the bracket. 49ers, I felt like were a gauntlet in the NFC that we're not going to be an issue. And then the Packers came out and played a really good football game with them.
They played a really good last,
Oh, yes. The Packers have played really good.
7 weeks?
Oh, yeah. I was more looking at the fact that I think, though, that it almost made if you're the Lions, you're not looking at the 49ers after how the Packer game went going, we can't beat those guys.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking at them going, holy shit, we could go to the Super Bowl. Yeah. If you're a fan.
I'm 100% rooting for the Lions.
Oh,
I don't want to see Mahomes, so I'm going for the Lions and the Ravens.
I have no hate for Mahomes, so I don't mind if Mahomes, but I want Lamar to get one because of all the people that shit on him. Like, I want him to get one and flip him a big bird. In the same boat, though, it's kind of like the rah-rah guy. Like, I want to see Dan Campbell get one. Like,
so I want to see it
and Jared Goff.
For the city of Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to lose.
I'm actually worried for the city of Detroit because the riots are going to ensue. Like, cars on fire.
Detroit is already bad enough.
Yes,
you're going to give them a Super Bowl win?
They're going to lose their shit.
Jesus.
So that could get terrifying. But I will say,
capital of the world.
If the Lions win the Super Bowl, just say they win it. Say everything goes in, the Lions win the Super Bowl. Is there a greater win-win trade in the history of football than Jared Goff for Matt Stafford?
No, there is not.
No, we're talking within a 4-year window. Both teams brought home the ship. It's the greatest win-win trade of all time. Like,
100%.
you always look back at great
Rams set themselves up for win now.
Yep.
And the Lions set themselves up for the future.
Exactly. And we look at every trade that ever happens, we look at then and go, oh, this team's got it won. Or in 5 years later, we look back and go, well, like, Laramie Tunsil deal for the Dolphins. Everything that hasn't transpired because of what the Dolphins gave the Texans for Laramie Tunsil. I don't care how good he's been for the Texans. The Dolphins won that trade because they built their whole freaking organization off that trade.
Yeah.
But if Rams got their Super Bowl, Lions are in a chance to win theirs. I mean, hell, just the fact that they won playoff games and revitalized the organization, they probably already both won the trade.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's golf has won 100% without anything else. Golf has won because they gave up on him, and he went to Detroit, and Campbell was like, "You're my guy.
Yeah,
I've got your back." Everyone, every year is going, Lions are taking a quarterback this year in the draft. Dan Campbell goes, "No, Jared Goff is my guy."
And they did take one, but he couldn't play.
Well,
he
third round.
Yeah, but
he's 25 years old.
Yeah, he's actually almost older than Goff. But no, it's for sure, like you said, like, I don't think we see enough at times players getting the support that Campbell has given to almost anyone on his team.
Yeah.
But the way he walked in and was like, no, this is my guy. I'm falling on the sword for my guys.
Yep.
There's a lot of time. Hell, we saw it with Brock Purdy this last weekend. Shanahan gets on the stage and goes, well, there were some throws he missed. He balled out when we needed him to, but there were some throws. Like, don't even bring that part up.
Right.
There's no reason to bring up he missed some throws. In the film room, you tear his ass up.
Right, yeah.
You should have made
bring
these
it out
throws.
in the media.
But to the media, absolutely not. You give that guy every vote of confidence because you're in the fucking conference championship game. Like, no, I'll say that was it's definitely nice seeing how supported he gets for him. Like, I would not be shocked if Dan Campbell seems like the kind of guy that if we were all out having beers and he had too many and someone walked by and said, this player on your team's a bitch, he'd just punch him right in the mouth.
Oh, he would, 100%.
You'd be like, I'm not even mad at you. Go kick that guy's ass.
First off, if someone walked up and seen Dan Campbell and said that, I would call him stupid idiot.
Oh, I don't know.
Because
I'll say
he
this.
looks mean.
There's some tight ends in the league that would go up to him and say, Kirby Joseph's a dirty motherfucker. Hell, Stafford walked up to Joseph and said it on the field. So, but that said, I mean, AFC wise, I have no bull in the race at all. I would love to see Lamar get one. I still laugh and text my buddy regularly. Every time Lamar does something good, I go, remember when you said Josh Rosen would be better?
Ooh.
Yeah, he said that. He said that Lamar's a running back and Josh Rosen is chosen Rosen and he's going to be the guy. And chosen Rosen was chosen by 5 different practice squads. Dolphins included, by the way.
Boy, that's one of them that just, he didn't have the mentals.
Oh, no.
Like, he had too
much mental. He thought he was the smartest guy in the room.
He was too, what is it? Not obnoxious, but, I mean, he was obnoxious, but it was just carried himself.
Sorry, guys.
Just carried himself like he was that dude.
Oh, yeah.
But
he
thought didn't have the
he
true
had Aaron Rodgers swag and, like, I can't even think of something. Jamarcus Russell. Yeah. Jamarcus Russell's talent. Like, that was the problem. Like,
yeah.
It was awful. So
that's perfect.
Talk about building the worst quarterback. So I'm just kind of rooting for good games this weekend, and then getting into the Super Bowl, it'll be just. I would
love for them to both be good, but I mean, Chiefs Ravens is going to be.
Oh, do you see the line? The over under is only 44.5.
Is it really?
There's like 85% of the money coming in. I'm sorry, I would have had the line at 50.
Wow, it sure is.
I don't care how good those defenses are. They're damn good defenses, but both defenses have shown that, like, in the first half of both games, both defenses were getting the ball moved on them. Now, they adjust well in the second half.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they're projecting such a low score, but 44.5's only 3 touchdowns each team, a little over 3 touchdowns each team, 3 touchdowns and a couple field goals. Like, that's not a lot.
No, it's
not. We just watched the Bills and the Chiefs do the same scoreline, like a little over it. So
Bills' defense isn't the Ravens' defense either.
No, true, but that makes sense. I'll give you that too. But all in all, it'll be a fun weekend of it. I don't really. You got any more NFL nuggets to throw in there? I got not having too much more. It was really coaching and playoff gaming.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Fangio fired, Brian Johnson fired, and then we touched on
they fired both coordinators because Sirianni's over here talking about how he's got to reinvent himself now.
Let's see, what else was there?
And the Raiders, a new GM.
Raiders new GM.
Yeah. Telecaso.
Telesco.
I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I can read it.
Tom Telesco. He used to be the Chargers GM.
That didn't work out.
Let me see. There was so the Bengals, they moved up their I guess assistant to offensive coordinator.
Oh, that's right. The quarterback's coach.
Dan Pitcher. He moved up. Let's see, who else is there? Dan Quinn looks like he might end up coming back because it doesn't seem like anyone really wants him. Let me see if there's...
Yeah, because he had a lot of Seattle love, and then it's kind of died off lately.
Yeah, it is out of nowhere. Gerard Mayo, that was last week's stuff. Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, Brian Callahan, and Washington still needs one. Washington hired Adam Peters as their GM.
Okay.
So
that means
pretty much it.
Probably start seeing the push there for a coach decision.
Yeah.
Getting going there. So, well, that said, then I'll give you an option here. You want to go with a big orange ball or a small white ball?
Let's do a small white ball.
All right, small white ball.
I like small white balls. Or my small white balls.
You like small white balls. You heard it here first. I'm going to clip that and send it to every group I know. But that said, Hall of Fame announcements. We're going to go straight to the big one. Now, especially because that does affect us locally. I think the first time that we got to see the Rangers really be, we had the 90s where they were winning the division, but the first time we got to see the Rangers really be a legitimate contenders in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
2008, 9, 10, 11, early 10s. 2010 Rangers push for the World Series. They don't win it. They go out and they hire a big gun to help push them over the top. Now, they didn't ever win it, but this guy finishes 5 years here, goes into the Hall of Fame, and that would be one, Adrian Beltre.
Third baseman, Adrian Beltre.
Absolute stud.
I know, I'm good at that.
That was really good. You got the voice.
I've practiced that before.
The chemistry that him and Elvis had side by side was awesome. They were always so much fun. He got 95% of the vote. There was never really any doubt. They even said in the early voting that he was looking pretty solid as far as his process.
Yeah.
Well deserved. He wore a few hats, though. I'm wondering what hat goes on his bus. I'm assuming it's going to be a Ranger hat because he finished there.
He spent
7 or 8 years at the end there. Dodgers, he was only there for a short time. Seattle was questionable.
He might be most well known for his time with the Rangers just because of a lot of the videos that have come out.
Exactly.
And him and Elvis, basically.
Exactly. And the head rubbing and all the fun stuff there. So I think he ends up, which was good for the Rangers, but I think that'll be where he ends up. So good, good for him.
We needed that.
Yeah.
Badly.
So then the other two that get in, one, deservingly so. This guy should have been in years ago. He was robbed of an MVP at one point in his career. Todd Helton gets in. Well deserved. It probably took too long, but then again, there's a lot of guys that take too long. We're going to talk about some of those names in a minute here.
Baseball is like that.
It does. And that's because they're very strict. They were like, we'll let X number in. And because of how high their percentage to get in bar is, it makes it even harder sometimes than some of the guys. But that said, Todd Helton gets in, and then the last one, Joe Mauer. Well-deserved, one of the best catchers in baseball for a really long time.
Yeah.
Fun fact on him, he's the only player in any sport to be drafted by the organization that he grew up in and then proceed to play his entire career with them and make the Hall of Fame.
Really?
15 years as a Twin. He was born in the same county that the Twins stadium resides and the organization is home. He was raised there. He played high school baseball there, and then he played all the way through. He is literally Minnesota through and through. So that alone is amazing to me.
That's impressive.
Right. Like,
I didn't know.
How cool of a stat that is. So with that said, congratulations to those guys. Now we get to the bubble guys, the guys that just missed it, the guys that aren't going to be able to, and the guys that did better. Winners and losers, basically.
Okay.
Second to last year on the ballot this year for Billy Wagner. Great closer for the Astros, long time, very good. 73 or 73.8%. He was 5 votes short of the needed 75%. Next year is his last year on the ballot.
I don't understand why it's
so close. It's because of how many votes they have to spread out. That's part of the problem. You had 25 guys that you have to spread out only 5 votes on. Because they only give each writer 5 votes after they narrow it down.
Okay.
So that kind of comes into it. So, then you'll get guys that get, there's guys who used to get petty votes that had no business getting a vote. And you're like, come on, you're wasting a chance in someone else. And so what ends up happening, though, is guys that get near the back end of that year, 5, 6, 7, 8, you see a big jump. Andrew Jones is one of those. He'll bring him up here in a second. Andrew Jones, sorry. Wagner probably gets in next year, last year on the ballot. But right under him, last year on the ballot, did not get in, and it's largely because his name is on the Mitchell report.
Manny Ramirez.
No.
Oh.
Gary Sheffield.
Oh, Gary Sheffield. Okay.
And he's on the list, too. He was at 32%. He's not even close right now. Gary Sheffield is at 63.9%, and he actually went backwards this year.
Oh, wow.
On his last year on the ballot. So he's now in that pool with guys like Bond. Yes. One of the most aggressive stances ever. He's now going to go.
I used to try it.
Oh, he's going to go in the pool with guys like Bonds and Schilling and guys that are now past the 10 years that you're allowed to be on the ballot. Because in order to make up for the votes, after 10 years, you go off the vote, and the only way you can get in is if a senior committee votes you in, and that's another 5 years you have to wait before you're even eligible for that vote.
Oh,
yeah, so that's the only way some of these guys get in when they're 75 because they finally came through on the senior committee and got the votes they needed.
Okay.
But the senior committee pool is 3 times what the player pool is because all the guys that are almost in, guys like Dale Murphy who won multiple MVPs while he was in the league aren't in yet. So they're going to get votes.
Okay. Wow.
And so, yeah, baseball is super exclusive. But Sheffield's long shot now at any point in his life.
Yeah.
The big winner, it looks like by a lot of people's metrics, would be Andrew Jones. His first 2 years, he was barely staying on the bracket. You have to have 5% to stay on the ballot. He was at 7% his first year and then 7.5% his second year. He's now in year 6 and he's up to 61.5%. And they say that his percentage has increased by about 25% of the vote every year, and it's largely because a lot of the metrics that we use now for baseball players that are actively playing, people have started kind of running them back through some of these guys' careers. And now it's starting to highlight certain things you don't think about because by the end of Andrew Jones' career, we thought about Andrew Jones the hitter because he kind of put on some weight. He was a 500 home run guy. That should have got him in alone.
Yeah.
But you don't remember that the first decade of Andrew Jones' career, he was the best center fielder in the whole damn sport. Well, one of them. But that dude would go after everything in Atlanta. He's a huge part of why the Braves won 16 division
He was
titles.
easily a top 3 center fielder during his playing career.
Yeah, and so...
probably number 2.
But yeah, because you had Griffey there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always go to the end of Griffey's career trying to shove him in right field for some reason.
No, that was the greatest center fielder of all time.
Yeah, so... A lot of people say, because I believe this was his 8th year, so next year they think he'll continue. If his trend continues, they think he could be a guy. But when I bring up the names on next year's class, you're going to say that could hurt him. Because next year's class is pretty stacked.
Yeah.
The other big winner they said was Carlos Beltran, but there was a little bit of a mix on that. Because some people feel like he didn't see the boost he had been seeing because of tie-ins to the Astros. And what happened there. So...
Bang, bang.
This is the first player that could see repercussions of being involved in that process. A lot of those guys are still playing, so we haven't really thought about will it infect them. But Altuve at some point is a Hall of Fame candidate. He is that good of a baseball player. Has been his whole career. And is that going to play into his voting?
And they're tough on people.
Exactly. So. You think they were hard on steroid users? We know they don't like cheaters. That's a cheater. He cheated only one season in comparison to guys that cheated for their whole fucking career. So, really could get questionable. Other than that, the other guys that saw votes, some of them that'll be falling off, or you had, it kind of falls off pretty hard. After Beltran at 57, you get to A-Rod, 34.
Yeah.
Manny, 33. Chase Utley, this was his first year on the ballot, I believe. He got 28.8, so that looks good for him going forward. Okay. Omar Vizquel jumped up to 17.7, all because of defense, because he really wasn't a good hitter.
Was
not. Bobby Abreu, he's been on the ballot a while. I believe he'll fall off soon. Jimmy Rollins, same situation, both 14%. And then Andy Pettit kind of slid in there with 13.5%. The guy, it was said, the biggest loser of the whole thing, everyone's kind of said, was Sheffield because of it being the last year, not getting in. But then we go into, like I said, the votes hold, and now we get next year's names. Next year's names are riddled with guys we're going to know. One, Brian McCann, 7-time All-Star catcher for the Braves.
Yeah.
Did he play the Rangers for a hot minute there too, or
McCann?
No, Astros. He's the Astros. Hot minute for there. Then you have Adam Jones. People don't remember that Adam Jones was a huge part of why the Team USA was successful the first World Baseball Classic. One of the most iconic catches in baseball was him robbing a home run in dead center field at the World Baseball Classic. Great player for the Arizona Diamondbacks. 5-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glover. Oh, you're looking at Astros? Yeah. Then you have Hanley Ramirez.
Okay.
Rock solid infielder for the Marlins and the Red Sox. 3-time All-Star, 271 home runs, 281 stolen bases. Like, solid resume.
Yeah.
Probably not getting in. He's a really good player, but he's going to fall as that guy. Russell Martin, 4-time All-Star catcher. Catchers is one of the hardest positions to get in anyway.
Yeah.
So, Ben Zobrist. Ben Zobrist will never get love because he played so many different positions, but Cubs don't win a World Series without him. He's a 2016 World Series MVP. But he'll be a guy that falls off the bracket, but names come in. Troy Tulowitzki, 5-time All-Star shortstop. His problem Tulo was great with the Rockies.
Yeah.
The ones he left and started having injuries, he just couldn't maintain it.
He won't ever get in.
Yeah, he won't. Curtis Granderson, 3-time All-Star, 344 home runs. I forget how much power Curtis Granderson had. He only stole 150 bases. He was a center fielder most of his career. Hit 344 bombs. Then you get to the next. These 5 names are all pretty fun names. And 2 of them play the same position, so that could hurt their voting because you're in the same position at the same time. 1. 2010 AL Cy Young and 6-time All-Star and pitcher of a perfect game, Felix Hernandez.
King
Felix. I mean, Mariners legend. That is a hard one to say. You've got a perfect game. You've got a Cy Young. He will be a guy that gets a couple of years. I don't know he gets in year 1 or 2, but I think he's going to get in.
I would say 2 to 3.
Yeah, I have a hard time not putting him in at some point. Then you have, this is the fun one, same position. 2008 AL MVP, 4-time All-Star, World Series champion, curse-breaking second baseman for the Boston Red Sox, Dustin Pedroia.
Okay.
And then you've got 4-time All-Star second baseman, Ian Kinsler. But Ian Kinsler actually has a better career WAR. I believe he has a higher average as well and more home runs. But Pedroia has all the success.
I'm a huge Ian Kinsler fan. He's not a Hall of Famer.
I was never a huge Ian Kinsler fan.
I love Kinsler. Like, I wore the high socks. Like, the reason I wore the high socks
you know the goofy way he sagged his pants?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I did everything like that because of him. Like, Kinsler was my dude. He's not a Hall of Famer. In my opinion, he's not.
The next 2 are CC Sabathia, 251 wins, 07 AL Cy Young, 6-time All-Star, super teammate. Have you ever seen the video of what happened when he was near the back end of his career with the Yankees? So one of his last years with the Yankees, he's out pitching. It's the last game of the season. He needs 7 innings to get $1 million roster bonus. Like, it's not a small bonus. We're talking a big bonus here. In the first inning of the game, or the second inning of the game, one of his guys gets plunked, and he felt like the pitcher did it on purpose, and he gets pissed off and starts yelling from the guardrail. Things get slowed down, all works out. 6th inning of the game comes around. He's only got 1 more inning, and he's only thrown like 60 pitches. Like, he's probably going to pitch 8 innings. Like, he's dealing. Rib cages the catcher on the other team, saying that he thinks he called that shit, throws his glove down and starts screaming, "Come on, bitch," calls him out to fight on the field. All because he felt like they were disrespecting his teammate. He kicked away $1 million. The Yankees ended up paying him it anyway. He kicked away $1 million, though, that he didn't know he was going to get to back up his teammate. So, I don't always stand by a Yankee player, but CC was a teammate legend. People love CC Sabathia. And he's lost a shit ton of weight since he retired. He's like, seriously, he was fat his whole career.
Yeah, he was.
When you were, as a bigger boy most of my life, you looked at CC Sabathia and you were like, he gives hope to being a fatty. Like,
I can make it.
I can do this because of how big he was. And now he's not. Now he did the whole name thing, the change thing, where he dropped the dots in his CC and it went from C.C to CC. So, but then the last one, based on the fact that they're only giving you his MLB stats is a shame because you need to factor in his career stats because his numbers in Japan reflect based off how long he was there. You don't know who the name is off of that alone. He had 3,089 hits. He was the AL MVP in 01. Oh, that was also his rookie year, so he was also the rookie of the year. 10-time All-Star. Yeah, shredded now, bro.
Jesus.
Suzuki Ichiro Suzuki. They say it both ways. I'll tell you this. I have been to the Rangers ballpark plenty of times. I've watched Chipper take. My favorite player ever is Chipper. I watched him take BP. I've watched Ken Griffey Jr. take BP. I've seen some of the greatest power hitters of all time take BP. Nobody takes BP better than Ichiro. Ichiro literally told people, I can hit for power if I want to. But that's not my job, and I don't. And that's why he had 5,000 hits over everything. But when Ichiro would hit in Arlington, the last 15 swings of his set, he would loosen it up and cut loose. And I shit you not, I watched Ichiro hit multiple balls to the very top of the old home run porch. Like, he would freaking crank balls. And his teammates would just be like, it's honestly not a shock. Like, he does this all the time. Like, interviews they've said that there were countless people that said that if Ichiro would have done a home run derby, he'd have won it.
Dang.
Like, that just tells you how good he was, is that he stayed so disciplined that he was like, no, this is what will help my team win games. Like, he's guys you look back and wish got a World Series. Ichiro.
Yeah.
That dude's arm in the outfield, too, other things that are slept on. Ball was hit to him. It was like when it was hit to Vlad. We used to talk about laughing at Vlad because Vlad couldn't run. But the minute Vlad got a ball, he was one of my favorites out there, too.
He was one of the best to watch when it was like that.
Oh, yeah. When he
Now it's you know, I almost called him Big Papi. Oh my God. Garcia.
Adole.
Adolis Garcia.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Got his nickname. Anyways, watching him do it now, like, that's nice, but
no,
it ain't nothing like,
dude,
like
honestly,
Vladimir.
There's guys with good arms now, like was it Tatis, since they moved him to right field, he's got a cannon. Like, he's seen some fun with. But you know another guy that we were thinking about Rangers right fielders and all that was
El Bombi. There you go.
Jeff Francoeur had a freaking cannon, but he was such an average hitter, no one realized it. But Francoeur, when he was with the Braves and even with the Rangers for a little while, he could take one step from the wall and throw a BB to third base. And I don't know.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He had a rope. So
I don't know why it escaped me, but it's El Bombi.
El Bombi.
Yeah.
You forgot his nickname?
I was sitting there like, I know it. I know it's not Papi. It's Bombi. El Bombi.
That said, though, I gave you the names. I'll give you 5 votes. Who are you voting on?
Oh, 100% is going to Ichiro.
You're going to Ichiro.
So on just on these?
Oh, no. You know who was hanging on the ballot, too. So you've got some guys that are hanging there. Remember, we had, let me roll back up to their names here. Wagner, Sheffield's off the ballot now, but you have Wagner, Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran. You can use votes on some of these guys if you feel necessary.
No,
also,
I'm gonna go Wagner.
Billy Wagner, Ichiro,
Andrew Jones.
You have 2 more votes. 2 more votes. I got Ichiro.
Sabathia.
CC, that's 4.
And go back to the other ones.
It's tough, right? Because we only get 5 votes. You really have to think about it.
Ooh.
Now you realize.
Go back?
This is the moment when you realize, damn, maybe they are picky for a reason. Okay. Oh, here it is down here. There's some names that are eligible down here also.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see that. Ooh, Torrey Hunter. Oh, stud.
So, okay. Honestly, I have to go with Andy Pettitte.
Okay.
I would give it to Andy Pettitte. I know he's got some stink on him, but
I tell you what, this name right here that's on here, David Wright. If David Wright ever gets in and Michael Young doesn't, I'll be pissed because they're the same damn player. Except for Michael Young played more positions, won more Gold Gloves. Sorry, let me rephrase that. They're not the same player. They're similar style of player, but Michael Young's better. So, but I'm kind of with you though. CC Ichiro. I say that though. I go CC Ichiro. Because I don't, your last vote went Andy Pettitte.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't vote Pettitte. I would say Ichiro, CC, Billy Wagner, Andrew Jones, and then honestly, I'm really torn between Pedroia and Felix.
Oh, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna go King Felix. Sorry.
See what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's
I
tough.
forgot.
Like
Yeah. I honestly, I just scanned over real quick and was looking somewhere else. Yeah.
I'm
So, not
super
Petty,
torn
I'm going
between
King
them, but
Felix.
I'll go Felix on the basis that yes, he only won one Cy Young. He easily could have won more than that, but he has a perfect game. We've only seen 25 of those or something. Like there's not that many of those to say that if that's your equalizer. In the same boat though, Pedroia helped break the Sox curse, so it's kind of like, damn, that was a long curse. Like, so all in all, that's that. So that said, then I will run into, now we'll go to the big orange ball.
The big orange ball.
The big orange ball. So not really going to spend a lot of time on current standings and stuff. We have seen a few trades. I've also seen some interesting inquiries about why we've seen some of the trades we've seen. For example, you know, we used to see a lot of the trades were trying to get a lot of draft picks. Well, apparently this year is a switch year to where we're starting to see some of the new CBA stuff kick in pretty hard.
Oh.
As far as taxing and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, the reason the Raptors were wanting players back is because they knew they didn't want to pay Pascal Siakam a max contract. But they wanted to keep good players. So they got a pair of good players because they won't have to pay Emmanuel Quickly a max contract money. You've got Barrett, who's already paid. He's got a $108 million deal, so he's got a contract right now. Whereas Pascal Siakam, with how the NBA is, even though he's not one of the 15 best players in the league, maybe, he's going to get a max contract because he's that kind of guy. Like, they're going to be like, oh, max contract, boom, that's what they do. So that's why you're seeing some of the deals move like this. OG Ogbongandowe came back in the way that deal laid out. The reason they got more picks is because OG is going to have to get paid by the next team. The other one was the most recent trade would be the Scary Terry deal, because there's two Scary Terrys. You have an NBA one, too. I can't remember his last name.
Rozier?
Terry Rozier, yeah. To the Celtics, or not to the Celtics, to the
Heat.
To the Heat, which is huge for them, because that, another offense, Jimmy Butler is, playoff Jimmy is not regular season Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy gets buckets. Yeah. Regular season Jimmy plays really good defense.
There's Jimmy Buckets and then Jimmy Schmuckets.
Yeah, like playoff Jimmy, or regular season Jimmy just plays good enough to stay healthy, win games, get through the playoffs. I respect it because he's at least playing every night.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Hero can get you a bucket, but I think Tyler Hero still needs some progression as far as getting it consistently. Terry Rozier is going to help with that. The other thing is Terry Rozier is top 5 in the league in fourth quarter points scored per game and efficiency in the fourth. Like, he's a closer. They can that will really help. And so they gave up Kyle Lowry a contract. Who, yes, Lowry's got some time still in the league, but you have a lot of defense on Miami, so you can sacrifice a defensive guy to get the offense. And they threw the first round pick in because Terry Rozier's already got a contract. So they don't have to pay him in Miami. He's already set up right now. So it kind of starts playing with why we might see, wow, that guy should go for more and that guy should go for less because of how this new salary structuring goes. So that's part of what we'll see there.
We're going to see a lot more even teams coming out of this because of...
Exactly. You're going to see, because really and truly, parity. You're basically set up with only 2 max contracts. But at the same right, I would tell you that the NBA, because of the fact that the rosters are so small, you only have 15 players on a team, I think that the NBA might, and it's going to sound crazy when you look at it, but I think it's the most parity league we have.
Oh, it is.
I don't think that people, like, we look at teams now and we're like, oh, they built, like, even Phoenix, they built a super team. Yeah, but because of how strict their money rules are, the other guys are all right. Like, they're average. And so you kind of choose, do we want stars? Like, the Celtics right now are the only team that I would tell you have a step up on people. I would say there's some young teams like Oklahoma, for example, because of youth. They're there, but they need one more year. They need that playoff success. Next year, Oklahoma could be totally different. I don't think we're winning it this year. Next year, you'll hear me hype train about a possible championship.
Durant and Grant Williams got into a scuffle.
Oh, about time Grant Williams did something for the Mavs.
Right? I know that's right.
So, with that said, we'll go with first things first, directly NBA-wise, because I want to talk Olympics also, but directly NBA season-wise, we've got All-Star votings coming out. The last round of voting drops in a few days. The All-Star game is the middle of February. It's the 16th, I believe. I think it's over President's Day weekend. So right now, front court leaders in the Western Conference, I'm just going to do the top 5. They have 10 here. Top 5, LeBron, Joker, KD, AD, Kawhi. Any complaints there? I mean, it seems like guys that have all played well throughout the season. The guys underneath them are interesting. Like Alfred Sengun for Houston is a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Chet Holmgren's getting votes. Victor Wembanyama's getting votes. Domantas Sabonis. So those are some pretty cool ones there. Then you get to guards. Luka. I believe Luka is the 4th most votes in the NBA right now. 5th most votes. 4th most in the Western Conference. That's what it was. So then it's Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then after those 3, everyone else's votes are pretty even. James Harden, 700,000 votes. Kyrie Irving, 700,000 votes. Anthony Edwards does not have enough votes, in my opinion.
No.
He's been the best player on one of the better teams in the league this season. I think the top 3, I would argue Steph because of how tough the Golden State Warriors season's been.
Yeah.
But I could easily say that Anthony Edwards needs to be higher up there.
Oh, 100%.
The fact that John Morant's getting votes just proves why fans shouldn't be allowed to vote since he played 5 games. It drives me nuts. Fan voting is 50% of what gets these players in. And All-Star voting counts towards how their max contract stuff pays out. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like All-Star voting
we went over this because of his max contract.
Yeah, so it's like a whole weird thing there. And Austin Reeves is on there just behind Devin Booker, which is pretty funny to me. So then you go to the Eastern Conference. It's Giannis, who we can stop here for a second and talk about the fact that did Giannis get his coach fired?
Yes.
I think he did. Because honestly, they were top 5 in every offensive metric.
He wasn't happy with how the offense was being run. From what I've heard, is he did not like how the offense was set up. Like, he didn't like it. I don't know what he didn't like about it, but he did not like how he was running that offense.
Yeah. Well,
for whatever reason. So now Doc Rivers is their coach.
Which, here's the funny part of that is Rivers, like a month ago, was hired as a consultant. And now he's the head coach. Like, don't tell me we didn't have writing on the wall. Like, if you're Adrian Griffin, like, I feel bad for that guy. You kind of knew some shit was coming.
Yeah.
So
that's messed up.
It is a little bit of a knock on Giannis on that front, though. Like, kind of how that plays out. But then you have Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum. Then we talk about Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown. Porzingis getting a lot of love. Okay, he's had a good season there, too. Just kind of looking. I'm not seeing anyone else worse.
I mean, Staffs can be good when he's healthy. If he can be healthy.
I think the problem with him is he got so much hype for what his body style was and everything else. Mm-hmm. That, he's good, but he's never going to be the best player on the team. He's probably not even the 3rd best player on that team because of how good some of the other... Like, Derek White's been an absolute stud for them, so... I would have a hard time saying that Derek White might not be having a better season than Kristaps has for the Celtics.
Before I say something stupid.
Trying to look and see.
I was going to compare him to someone, but I want to make sure I'm not being like completely dumb when I make that comparison. Yeah, I would have been dumb.
Okay.
He's not near as good. I was going to say Andre Kirilenko.
Oh, K9. AK-47. That's what it was. That was one of the best nicknames in sports because he was a dick, too.
He was also only 6'9", so yeah.
But then on the guard side, you've got Tyrese Halliburton, Trae Young, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, and Jalen Brunson for your little local flair there. And Drew Holiday. Celtics are running players up. Their whole starting lineup is in the final 10 in voting. It tells you how deep that team is.
Fan voting stupid crap.
Well, fan voting is pretty bad. So that's the All-Star voting. With the All-Star voting, we have skills competitions. The only confirmed name that we have right now is we know that Victor Wembanyama is going to do the skills contest, it looks like. We also know that Jaime Jaquez Jr. of the Miami Heat is going to do the dunk contest, which I didn't even know he could dunk. While I was at UCLA, I didn't think he was very athletic. I thought he was a bucket getter, but he wasn't like an athlete. But he's been really good for Miami this year. Cool. Mac McClung has been invited. He's the Orlando Magic minor league team now. G League, whatever the hell it's called now. I hope he does it because he won it last year.
Yeah.
I still get pissed if he doesn't get any kind of... Like, I feel like looking at some of these NBA rosters, Mac McClung, even have a 10 minutes off the bench guy, 5 minutes off the bench guy, I feel like could help a team more than some of the guys we see.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? Don't get me wrong, because I love the dude. He's hilarious, great in a commercial. I hear he's a great teammate too. Former Maverick, big donkey, the huge ass nose. He's in the Adam Sandler movie also, where he pretends he's 18 and he's really like 30. Cannot remember his name. It's gonna drive me nuts. The center. He just left the Mavs. He's on the Rockets now.
Oh my God.
Just can't remember. Just went blank. He's a Houston Rocket. Let's go. I'm gonna look up the Houston Rockets because it's gonna drive me nuts that I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like the dude. I'll say this though. This guy actually is good. Like he just doesn't ever get any minutes because he gets tired too easy. Just loading rosters here. Boban Marjanovic.
Oh my God. I don't know why that. Yeah.
He's 35 now, but like I don't know. I just feel like there are guys that are on NBA rosters that
He was in a movie that I didn't realize he was in.
he's in the Adam Sandler movie. I know that.
Yeah, he was in that one.
He's in another movie. He's actually in a couple.
But he was a
hilarious.
bad guy. He was a.
He's in shit. The guy that does really good sports movies and now he shoots people. John Wick.
John Wick. Yes.
He's in John Wick.
There you go.
No, who the freak is the lead in John Wick?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, yes. I was like, what the hell is that guy's name? Yeah, so
yeah, he was an assassin for another.
Yeah, he's only 7'4", 290. Like, great assassin. Like, you feel like his career in that would be spot on. So, that said, though, obviously we're still waiting on names to come out there. We'll see what happens all in all. But then the other NBA news would be that yesterday they announced the 28 players that are now the finalists for the Olympic roster, which will only include 12 players. Remember, we just crapped the bed at the World Championships, so and all the big guns said, oh, you know what, I'm going to do it, and you got, like, the big guns are all trying to come out and say, you're making USA basketball look good, so watch us come fix it. So, that said, you've got Bam Adebayo, who was on the last team, Jared Allen from Cleveland, Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bain, Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, who I would assume is probably one that makes the team, Mikal Bridges, Jaylen Brown, who I assume would make the team, Jalen Brunson, who I don't... That's a toss-up because he was on the last team. After I say the whole list, I'll go back and say to build a roster here. Jimmy Butler, probably going to be on the team. Alex Caruso, I don't even know how he made the final 25-man listing. But then here's where the powerhouses start coming through. Steph Curry, making the team. Anthony Davis, making the team.
As long as he stays healthy.
Yeah. Kevin Durant, making the team. Anthony Edwards, making the team. Joel Embiid, because he switched his citizenship, so he is USA eligible now.
He did. Oh.
Yeah, our team is stacked.
Wow.
Joel Embiid. You've got... Then it gets really hairy because you've got some guys where it's like Paul George. Paul George broke his leg for this country, set his NBA career back. So, Aaron Gordon, probably not. Tyrese Halliburton is an absolute monster with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
James Harden, if you're going to start playing the naming Hall of Fame game, like you have a hard time. Josh Hart, Tyler Hero, Drew Holiday, Chet Holmgren, Brandon Ingram, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Jaren Jackson Jr. You know LeBron's on the team. If LeBron's on the team, Kyrie's probably on the team.
Because they want to play together.
Yeah. Cam Johnson, Walker Kessler, Kawhi Leonard, who never does extra shit, is on this list. And he's like... Damian Lillard.
Dame time, baby.
Donovan Mitchell. Chris Paul. If LeBron's on the team, Chris Paul's on the team. Bobby Portis. Austin Reeves. Duncan Robinson. Why are you on the list? Like, go home, bro. Jason Tatum, Derek White, and Trae Young. I mean, the talent pool is stupid.
Yeah.
But... now that I've said them all out loud, we get 12.
They're going to the Olympics to prove.
Oh, yeah.
that they're still the dominant.
They're going to go to the Olympics very similar to the 92 Dream Team, and they're going to, except for they don't have to have a college kid. Because if they had to have a college kid, I would love it if they said, screw that, we don't want a college kid. we want a high school kid, and they go get. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
No, he could literally be the pre-college version of Christian Laettner, though. Like, what if he gets to the league and just shits the bed, but he dominates in college? I hope not, because I hope the kid's a stud.
Oh,
now that I
Cooper
haven't
Flag?
said his name because I went blank and can't
Cooper
remember.
Flag?
Yeah, Cooper Flag. I hope he's an absolute monster because he's amazing to watch on highlights. But so naming the listing here, we go Devin Booker probably.
So how many is on the roster?
12. I believe they have 12 members of the 2020 U.S. men's national team represented it. Let me see. I want to say they take 12 or 13 guys.
Okay.
Because obviously there's only one ball to go around with all these people. I'm trying to confirm that here. Also, the team is going to be coached by Steve Kerr. It's going to be his last year coaching the team, along with Mark Few, the Gonzaga coach, Tyrone Lue, and Eric Spoelstra. Lord. I don't know why Tyrone Lue's at the table, but the other three are pretty solid. And then Kerr was an assistant for Popovich. That's right. Let's see here. I'm trying to confirm it. I thought it would say down here. Are you looking on there to see if it tells you?
Let's see. 12.
So it is 12. All right, so if it's 12 guys, all right, so LeBron's on.
Mm-hmm.
We know, we'll definitely say LeBron's on. If Chris Paul's on if LeBron's on. I don't see any way you don't give him that. You got to have big, so AD and Embiid. Jesus, that. And then Durant. That's probably a starting lineup. Like, because they'll let Chris Paul.
You got Steph Curry there too.
True. This is true. You probably start Steph over Paul. So then you have Steph. So there's 6.
Because you also have Hallie's a point guard too, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't find you a. I mean,
then
I
you
think
also
it's going to
have
come down.
Kyrie.
I think it's going to come down to Halliburton, Kyrie, and James Harden, and I'm going to say that they play let's send the biggest names we've got game, and because of Uncle Drew and all that he built with that campaign and stuff, I think they'll edge it with that. I think they're going to try to send the names and just dominate with it, which they will.
The old names.
Yeah. That's what we do with the Dream Team. Like, if you think about it, like, was it Larry Bird couldn't walk at the end of every practice because he was so banged up from his back injuries? Magic had already retired from the league and come back. Like, I mean, we sent names, but we sent old dudes that just knew we were better. So there's 7 guys. And let's see. I'm just trying to look here. Jason Tatum, he's one of the best players in the league. How do you know? Jason Tatum? Golly, it's just so hard to decide a few between some of the guys. Like
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. I think you have to. So there's 9, but I don't think we have enough bigs. I mean, we have Embiid and we have.
You said Embiid, KD, and
KD's not a big though. I mean, I guess they might run him at the 4 at the FIFA level. So
you got.
And they were running Paulo Banchero at the 4.
Anthony
Davis, Embiid, KD would be your front court guys, and maybe LeBron playing some front court.
Because the rest of the names on that list.
Because other than that, I mean, you're gonna have to look at guys like literally Chet, Jaren Jackson, Walker Kessler. Jaren Jackson has not had a good season to say that he's gonna be Olympic ready.
Scroll back up to the top.
Oh damn! I didn't even think about Mikal Bridges. Bam Adebayo. So that might give you 10 guys. 4. That's 4 bigs. That's you've got a pretty goodness. That's 10 guys right there. I don't know. I think they put Paul George on the team.
And then Devin Booker.
Yeah, I think Devin Booker and Paul George round out the roster. And I hate Devin Booker, but I think Devin Booker and Paul George. I don't know why I feel like they'll go to Paul George. Like I said, he did break his leg playing for the country. I'm actually surprised he wants to play for the country. But you know what? I just said all that and didn't put Kawhi Leonard on the team.
No, you sure didn't.
And so now you're looking at it and you're like, how do you not? Or Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard didn't make my team either. It's insane. Like, the talent of guys that don't make the team could be the team.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we sent half of them to the World Championships. So that'll be...
And I think there will be a part of them where they'll have a lot of the older guys, but I bet they'll have several of the younger guys just so they can have the experience.
Exactly. I think it's going to end up
being
being like 8
see a lot of the
and
guys
4.
that you would think that should go are not going to go because they're going to want some of those younger guys to have that experience.
I wouldn't be shocked if you see 8 and 4. guys, and that's why we're talking about names like we said.
Halliburton.
Halliburton would be a possibility there.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards was one we said is there. Or was it Paolo Banchero could potentially be one.
Possibly.
I don't know about Jalen Brunson. I don't think he's young enough.
Oh, and Tatum.
Fall. Yeah. Ooh, you really think they'd make Tatum fall in the young guard though? I mean, he's 7 years into the NBA now. He's pretty much an established superstar.
Yeah,
he might start.
He's still not part of that old guard.
True, because the guys that are in their years.
Yeah, these are going to be the guys that this is their last year, and they're passing on the torch to the next few years.
I'm just saying, if we're sending star-studded names, though, and guys that could, especially at the FIFA level and how FIFA basketball's played, the fact that Austin Reeves and Duncan Robinson are on this list over Russell Westbrook is a shame. Now, Westbrook has to say he wants to, so maybe he didn't want to, but just saying, if you're going to send the list of guys like that, you just say F it. You send all the guys like that. Hell, James Harden's on the list, so why not? Hell, Russ comes off the bench and is more productive half the time for the Clippers than James Harden is.
I would have Russ on that list before I would have James Harden on that list.
I would have Russ on that list over, if Russ wanted to do it, he's on the list for me over, let's see.
Oh, a lot of those.
Alex Caruso, easily. Yeah. We said the guys near the bottom. Josh Hart, Tyler Hero, James Harden, Drew Holiday even, because Drew Holiday has no chance at really making the team, I don't think, even as good as he is. Bobby Portis, hell, I could probably make you debate why he could be on the team over Chris Paul, because Chris Paul's not. I also saw a really fun one that was on a topic of Chris Paul. It was it Ben Wallace or one of those guys that they were doing one of those interviews on one of the NBA player podcasts. Half the league has their own podcast now and drops some pretty good content.
It was probably Rasheed Wallace.
Probably.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Chris Paul. Maybe it wasn't. I can't remember now. But
because I've seen their podcast.
They asked. Well, it might have been Paul George's podcast. His podcast gets pretty steamy at times. It's surprising what
it might be Paul
George.
It might be because I think Rasheed Wallace is on there.
Yeah. They said stop calling Chris Paul the greatest point guard of all time.
That was on. Yeah, that was the Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah. And they were and you're I don't think that I've ever thought about it, but then you start as him as the greatest point guard ever. But they're because when you sit there and you have to name the guys, especially because if you're gonna name him that, then you have to treat him like we do the tiebreaker for a Michael, for example, with championships.
Yeah.
He has none. He's never even been to one.
Yeah.
Whereas
calling him the point guard.
Yeah, Jason Kidd has a title. Stockton never got a title, but John Stockton is the greatest passer.
But he was there twice and had to face Jordan.
And he was there twice, exactly, and had to play against the Michaels-led Bulls. There were a couple of names, and when they named it all out, you sit there and you go, "Damn, you right. He's good. He's a great player, but shit, he didn't really make the team win anymore." The Clippers won because they played, Lob City between Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan in their primes, but
I think he's a good point guard, but I would never put him in that greatest conversation because to me it's John Stockton. There's only two.
Oh, Jerry West, don't forget about him.
No, there's only two people in that conversation. It's John Stockton and Magic Johnson. There's no one else in that conversation.
Okay.
Steph Curry's in the conversation because of shooting.
Yeah.
Not because of the point guard. He's the point guard because he's just running offense. True point guard, it's John Stockton and Magic Johnson. Yeah. That's it. There ain't no one else in that conversation.
I think it was in the same real twist. You get bored and sometimes you get a rabbit hole. I think it was the same rabbit hole that I got I got one that was the way that we look at greatest players of certain sports gets interesting because when we look at the NFL, for example, we have these people that instantly say Brady or they instantly say Montana, they have that. But then there's people that look back and go, we never hesitate to say who. There's two. One, we know who the greatest hockey player ever is. There's no debate. Wayne Gretzky's the GOAT. There's never been anyone even whisper what he is.
Can't.
Yeah. And so, his margin over the second best player, they said, makes him probably the greatest athlete in all of sports because of how well he dominated. But then when you look at the NFL, you start naming off guys, and then you realize that in the NFL, we've even started taking GOAT debate to just the quarterback position because how can you not look at a guy like Jerry Rice and make the argument that he was the greatest football player ever because of him being a receiver? Stick 'em?
Stick 'em.
Oh. And then you talk about, but there were things
he even admitted to using it.
No, true.
So, Like, to me, it diminishes a little bit. I mean, it's no different than the gloves.
Yeah, the gloves now are so...
But it was illegal. And he admitted to using it while it was illegal.
That's true, so that makes sense.
So, to me, it diminishes him some. Not a lot, because he used it when it was legal, which is basically the gloves. But then once they made it illegal, he still used it for several years.
Yeah, so that plays into there. But it was interesting because there is like this kind of how they establish the guidelines of it and where we make tiebreakers for certain things. But then that's why I said it was like when they talked about it, they were like, well, here's your fun one. Who's the greatest athlete in all sports? And the guy goes, well, shit, it has to be Wayne Gretzky. Like, you can't tell me that the next guy to Gretzky is anywhere as close. Like, the second guy behind Brady is close enough that there's a discussion in most people's eyes. Like, and y'all heard that. I even just said Brady's probably considered the best ever. But you can make the same debate for Montana, largely because you can make the same debate for Montana that you do with Jordan. He never lost in the finals. Never lost the biggest game, so he gets that bump to his resume.
Yeah.
And so, where is Gretzky? You just look back and you go, hell, there's Gretzky. I couldn't tell you someone who's even in the same ballpark.
Gretzky's got so many assists that he'd be the all-time leader in points because of his assists. And he took away his points.
That's
what makes him so special.
In all the crazy stats in sports, like there are some sports stats that you're like, wow, that's insane. The fact that he can take every goal he ever scored away and still be the all-time leading point getter in all of hockey is just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why there is nobody close in that conversation.
Yeah.
Especially, and like I would 100% agree with that. There's in the umbrella of sports.
And there's some great ones.
There's
like
one, and it's Wayne Gretzky, and then everyone else is under it.
Yeah, like even like looking at some of the hockey players now, just saying names that we know. Like, again, Sidney Crosby was supposed to be the next Wayne Gretzky, and you can't say that Sidney Crosby has not had a fantastic career.
Yeah,
He's probably one of the 15 best hockey players of all time. Like, he has lived up to the hype, but the hype of being the next Wayne Gretzky is different than even the hype of being the next LeBron or Michael Jordan. Like, 100%. It's just that different.
Yeah, because you have to be on that level of being so great that you stand out.
Yes, like
above and beyond.
Literally, the only person who even had the idea of being able to reset that line is the fact that, like we've talked about with Patty Mahomes getting to 6 conference championships. If they would have all been Super Bowls and just all been wins, like then you just look at it and you're like, well, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback's ever played, and therefore he's the best in history. But I mean, it is like I don't know that you'll ever look at it and just go, well, someone will someday. Like even now, like Connor McDavid is, I think, the name that he's just a stud in hockey, and he's been a stud since he was 21, now 25, and they're like, if his career continues, he'd still be 300 goals, 600 assists, like some stupid shit, like way out of the ballpark.
Start comparing him to the second highest scorer. That way, you don't have to embarrass him too much.
That guy's like the next great scorer should be like, this is the next Alexander Ovechkin, because that's a respectable name. Like you want to be that guy. Like,
that would be.
Are you trying to look and see? Because like, who is the second leading scorer in hockey? Like
most
all-time scorers in hockey. Is it Bobby Orr? Look at me knowing names. I'm just proud that I knew that. Bobby Hall and Orr. It is Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah, Jagr. And then
but hold on. Jagr has 1,921 total points. Good Lord. He has 1,900 assists, Wayne Gretzky does. But, yeah. How long because Jagr played for like 25 years or some shit.
He played 1,700 games.
Yeah.
Which is 300 more than Wayne Gretzky did.
Yeah, he played a shit ton of games. I know it was really high. I'll say this, though. The other thing that America needs to step up is...
Oh, look at it here. Here's a name that most people that aren't super big into hockey would... Mario Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux. All-time leading scoring list.
And Sidney Crosby is number 12.
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
Okay, like...
Oh, yeah. And
that's... All right, that's
Alexander Ovechkin, 16. But his is 830 goals, just 683 assists. Sidney Crosby only scored 511 or 577 goals. Considering he's been in the league as long as he has, it seems like he'd have more. But he gets a lot of assists as well. But here's the thing about that list, though.
Yeah,
and we make jokes. I make jokes about this all my life, but this list justifies my jokes. Canada, 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 Canada. That's 14 of the top 15. Oh my God.
So Crosby's from Canada too?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, 14
I
of
thought
the
he was
top
American.
14 of the top 15 players of all time on the hockey list are Canadian. Joe Sakic, I know that name. Mario Lemieux, Stevie Yzerman. That used to be my favorite player. I used to actually keep up with the Red Wings because of Stevie Yzerman. It probably was. I never said I'd say it right. It's Canadian. I think Gordie Howe is a big name I would know, but like
Mike
he was born in
Modano at
19.
26.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mike Modano and Brett Hall are 25 and 26. That's kind of your debate
I skipped right over Brett Hall.
Yeah, that's your debate for best American probably player of all time there. I'll give you this: Brett Hall only played 1,269 games to Mike Modano almost playing 1,500 games.
Oh my goodness!
So that kind of edges you some Brett Hall love when he's played less games and put up more points. His are goals scored too. I thought Mike Modano was the all-time leading scorer for American hockey, but Brett Hall clearly has almost 200 goals more than him. Look at us talking hockey.
Who am I trying to think of? Is Lindros. That's who I was trying to think of. Eric Lindros. Where is he at?
I don't know. Here's Patrick Kane, Evgeny Malkin. Let's see, Phil Housley, Jeremy Roenick.
Wow, he's not even in the top 50.
You know how many Canadians there are? About 38, 40. Nicholas Lindstrom, Sergei Fedorov. Dude, I'm actually proud of some of these names that I actually know. I did play some of that NHL game as a kid, though. That was a fun little video game. Steven Stamkos, he's on the Lightning now, I believe.
Was Lindros? I thought Lindros was better than that.
There's Joe Pavelski, and he's on the Stars right now. Maybe Lindros is from another country.
Well, I'm just looking at records. Like, he's not even in the top 100.
Yeah, I don't see him. I know the name. Brian Leach.
He was one of my favorite players. For some reason, I thought he was a lot better than that. Let me see.
All right, I'm gonna go back
Hockey
to
reference. All right, he's got 865 points.
So we're clear. The second most assists in all of hockey is 1,249 assists. Wayne Gretzky's at 1,963. The second, now goals is a lot closer. He actually could get past.
Oh, so 300. Lindros only has 372 goals.
Oh, okay. Alexander Ovechkin very well could pass Wayne Gretzky in all-time goals scored. I don't know. I got to remember. Let's see. Alexander Ovechkin was born in 1985. So that puts him at, I got to do math really quickly here.
When?
1985?
Oh, same as me, 38.
38?
Uh-huh.
So, can you look up Ovechkin and see how many goals he scored this season?
I'm on him right now. This season, he has scored 8.
So, he's definitely not scoring.
With 20 assists.
So, he needs 64 goals to catch Gretzky. What's his last couple seasons look like? Because obviously he's 38 now, so he's got to play age into it. From 35 to 38, he has scored 24, 50, 42, and then 8 this season. So he's definitely dropped.
The 24 was in a 45-game season.
Because he had injuries. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I would say this though.
He has never. How many does he got?
He needs 64 goals.
Okay, he has hit the highest he's ever done in a season is 65.
65. Well, he ain't passing it this season.
And that was in his third year.
Yeah, well, they're already a pretty decent way into the season. I think they're almost halfway. So his best bet this season is getting to 16, maybe 20. Say he gets to 20 this season, that's another 12 goals. That puts him at 842 goals. So that would put him 52 goals behind him. So he would need to play at least 3 more years. I'll say this: hockey players play remarkably long.
Yeah, and
for the physical toll that you'd think hockey would play. Now they also do have those shift change and intermissions kind of give them some good rest on their games. Like, I'll say hockey was the boringest sport I'd ever gone and watched.
God, yeah.
Dude, 20-minute intermission, like nothing's going on either. Like, they didn't even have a show on the ice when I went. I was just like, this
they got to repair the ice.
Yeah, all you get is this big-ass Zamboni rolling around. You're just like, well, we couldn't have like a singer or like a halftime show, but it happens twice, so you can't do that. So, but other than that, I don't have anything else. That pretty much.
Yeah, I think the only other big thing is that WWE is going to Netflix in 2025.
That's right. I shared that at the page. That'll be Raw.
And The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh yes.
He got ownership of his name.
I'm watching a show with him in it right now.
And then he also had gotten named to the board of the parent company of
UFC and WWE. Yeah, so there's
a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah,
with all that.
I'm watching that show Ballers with him in it.
Oh, okay.
It's on Netflix right now.
Uh-huh.
It's the only thing. Don't tell my wife, but technically the Dolphins won a championship in that. That one doesn't count. But yeah, I'm watching that one. It's
I mean, didn't the Dolphins win one in the NXT Ventura?
Did they? I don't remember. It's been so long since I watched it from Jerry.
Maybe it was just a regular season game that they.
No, they won a championship. I will say it's hilarious the names they have thrown out. I've watched about 14 episodes. It's only like 25 minutes. Like I've been buzzing through it today. Let's see, Lamar Woodley, Victor Cruz.
Oh,
like this is. Remember what year this is? This is peak for a lot of these guys. Terrell Suggs is in it, and it was while he was recovering from his Achilles tear, so he's rolling around in one of those little ankle chairs. He was in it. Let's see who else. Jason Taylor, Larry Zonka, because they're in Miami.
Oh, okay.
So you see, like there's a part where the new coach comes in, or one of the guys is trying to like revive his career, and he's trying to get on the team, and he runs up to the yacht where the coach is, and the coach is like, "You're late," and he drives off. And the guy's just sitting there. When he gets back, he looks at him and goes, "Go help Shula and Zonka get the fish off the boat." And I would be like, "Yes, sir." Miami royalty. But no, it was pretty cool. It's been a fun show. Like I said, a lot of name drops. You can see some pro athletes across the board, even different sports. Birdman Anderson was in an episode because he was trying to pick up a chick, and then another dude was dating, and like they start trying to fight in the bar.
He's a Miami legend, so
yeah, he was on. It was while he was there, but it was while what was funny is the guy's diss back at him was, "It's because of you LeBron went back to Cleveland." So it was pretty funny, but yeah, sorry, tangented me there with The Rock. It was fun drop there. So
yeah,
but no,
it was a good segue because you were watching the show with him in it.
It is, and I literally will probably go inside and watch another episode. I think it's happened so fast.
Other than that, I don't think there's really anything else that's going on, especially in
nothing else.
The Oscars.
We'll hear more Olympic stuff. This is an Olympic year. We're gonna start seeing more Olympic trials for a lot of stuff. Are gonna happen in like June, July, or was it April, May, June? A lot of Olympic trials stuff will start coming on. The track stuff's in the early part of June. I may or may not know where the hotel that people are staying at for that are.
Okay.
But just me. Okay. But no, all in all, it should be fun. So other than that, I guess that'll wrap it up.
Yep.